Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Walmart. New beauty is in bloom at Walmart, and it's all about springtime radiance. From Drybar, Tula Skincare, and hundreds more available online, Walmart has the premium brands you want and this season's on-trend products for flawless, glossy hair and hydrated skin. Big name beauty brands? Check. The things you love? Check. Find trending spring beauty and all you need to look and feel gorgeous at Walmart, on app and online.
We would like to thank our partners again from Eco Barista. www.ecobarista.com.au if you would like to get 15% off your first order. Do it today. This camel did it, and now look at him. As always, it's just coffee.
Welcome back to It's Just Coffee, and welcome back to our World of Coffee Dubai special. You've already heard some of the amazing conversations we've had, like our chat with Wilfred Lemastis Jr., the farmer behind the world's most expensive coffee. And we chatted with the World Barista Champion, Mikhail Jasin, but we're just getting started. For the next 2 weeks, we're doubling down, double the caffeine, double the podcast. We're dropping 4 new episodes each week, Tuesday to Friday. More deep dives, more behind-the-scenes moments, and more of the world's best coffee minds, all straight from Dubai. So grab a coffee, settle in, and get ready for another episode of It's Just Coffee. Enjoy the show.
Excellent. Well, welcome back, everyone, to the It's
By
Just
the Drip.
This is an It's Just Coffee podcast.
What?
Someone
Listen,
didn't get it?
I only signed up thinking Rowan's going to be here. Where's Rowan?
Well, Rowan, you got the budget version of It's Just Coffee. Rowan's too good to travel, so I've been sent on the international designation. But truly, welcome to the It's Just Coffee and By the Drip collaboration. What do we call it? A cross promo? How do you call it?
Crossover.
Crossover episode.
Buy the coffee.
Buy the coffee. Buy the coffee.
Buy more coffee.
It's just buy more coffee. But yeah, seriously, we've been planning this, or wanting to do this for a few months now. So welcome to Dubai and welcome to our show. And this is where you guys welcome me to yours.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here, man.
What are you guys doing in Dubai?
Great question.
Yeah, what are you doing in Dubai?
Well, I heard you were coming, so I thought as your older brother, I better chaperone you around.
I need that sometimes. We're coaching a barista competitor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are you feeling about their chances? Good? Robust?
Fantastic. Unbelievable.
I'm going to break this podcast down into, I think I've got 5 sections. We'll see how it goes. This could fly off the rails real quick.
It's going to, for
It's
sure.
going to really quickly. But I'll introduce you to our listeners first. So Cole and David from Rosso Coffee Roasters. Is that what you're both doing these days? Do you have or had Ford Coffee? Are you going to do anything with that again?
Yeah, Forward's coming back online. Maybe this is a good way to sneak that out into the world.
What is Ford Coffee? We'll start with Ford Coffee. What is it first?
Forward Coffee is a green coffee sourcing business that historically worked with about 12 or 13 different countries, which was a little too much, too much to handle. So it's going to narrow in and is going to become more of a brokerage style model.
Brokerage style model. And
Like wine, right?
Like wine. So in the world of wine and Champagne and Bordeaux and Burgundy, the top areas of wine in the world, you don't have people that go and travel there and they buy 5 cases of wine from different houses, different producers. They have brokers that figure out those transactions for different markets around the world. So Forward's going to reopen in a new model that's going to be based in Panama. I'm moving to Panama. Mom, I'm moving to Panama. You're not going to see me for a little while.
Breaking news.
And
What? You didn't even tell me.
I just told my mom, man, I'm going one step at a time here. Do you mind?
Well, do you want to tell me?
Oh, okay.
Do you want to tell me?
One sec. Dave, I'm moving to Panama. So the plan is to reestablish Forward based in Panama, only deal with the high-end boutique coffees of Panama and work in a brokerage-style model.
Right. So will you sign exclusivity with certain farmers or like certain lots of coffee? Or
Yeah, to be determined. I think there's larger scale established farms that won't want to do that. We're going to have a globalized approach, but there's underutilized, underserviced, underrepresented farms that maybe we can figure out putting in the portfolio that want to do that on a exclusive type of basis. And today is February 10th. I'm flying on February 14th, hoping to hit the ground running. So if you're watching this podcast, whenever you're watching this podcast, check out forward.coffee.
That's FWD?
FORWARD.
Okay.
.coffee. The website should be up and operational by the time this podcast is out. There should be inventory online. We should be able to ship anywhere in the world. And I shouldn't have to say should with everything.
Well, it's good for extra emphasis.
Emphasizing
you
there.
Should emphasize things.
Yes.
But do tell me, are you going to operate similarly under the old model where you kind of did 1 kilo bricks?
So the old model.
Come forward to touch with the microphone.
The old model. Part of the way we framed that was we're buying cases in the context of wine analogy. Again, most people don't understand how coffee trades, so I use wine analogies a lot. So we're buying cases, we're selling bottles. The bottle equivalency is a kilogram in the world of coffee. A kilogram really breaks down to about 36, 38 bottles liquid wine. Mm-hmm. So you get a shitload out of a kilogram.
Yep.
But most farms don't want to sell 1 kilo. They don't want to sell 5 kilos. They don't want to sell 10 kilos. Yeah. That's annoying if you're a buyer buying those amounts.
It'd be handy if there was a brokerage, right?
It would be super handy if there was a brokerage, totally. So we can move more volume per brand, per farm, you know, and then consolidate product as well.
Well, that removes a few barriers, really. So because let's operate under the current model, where if you want to buy a geisha, it's probably like a 20 kilo brick, let's just say. Mm-hmm. And then maybe now a roaster can have like 5 kilos of 4 different coffees, and it's more practical, gives... Consumers also want variety. I think you're solving a terrific need there, and I've been harassing you since you kind of...
A little too much, actually.
Since you've been reformulating to try and buy some
verbally
coffee.
And sexually.
Yes. So
pineapple.
But I'm looking forward to buying some coffee off you, and I think that's a terrific model that a whole bunch of coffee roasters should subscribe to. That'll break barriers for sure. That's
Sweet.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. If you use the It's Just Coffee 10 code on the website, you will get 0 discount.
We'll actually charge you extra.
Okay, so don't use that
20% extra.
Don't use that one. All right, so you're in the Ford coffee brokerage business, and you've got Rosso Coffee Roasters. So where's Rosso Coffee Roasters based?
So we're a coffee shop, roastery located in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Stampede
That's
territory.
right. Yeah. Please come visit us. But we've been around since 2007. We have 5 cafes, roastery. We've been, me and my brother joined the company in 2010. And we've been on the road a lot. So my wife back home runs Rosso right now. Mm-hmm. We've got a team of about 65 team members. And exciting times. Things are very busy back home. Mm-hmm. Our wholesale.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a nice coffee.
Yeah, what is this coffee we're drinking?
It's from Rosso, man.
Yeah, well, it is from Rosso. But did I hear Hacienda La Esmeralda name thrown around earlier?
It's just coffee, Kurt.
Okay.
It's from Rosso. It's just coffee, dude. Don't get so hyped up.
Okay, all right. I'll try and chill, even though I'm getting all these fed all these wonderful coffees.
But if you want to have this at your roastery, you could go to forward.coffee.
No. At RossoCoffeeRoasters.com.
But if you want to, maybe you can work through a brokerage as well to source it.
We're brokering you, man. Yeah, we're brokering you out to Panama.
There's multiple
we're going to
ways.
sell you a lot of things on this podcast.
There's multiple ways to go about it. I noticed on the bag here, you've got. Let's just jump into the competition stuff.
Okay.
Because on the bag, you've got coaches of the world, or official roaster of the world Brewster champions, both Borum and Mikhail Jasin. So congratulations on helping them progress to the World Brewster Championships and winning. What's it kind of been like coaching? Because you've had obviously a successful career competing in the Canadian Brewster Championship and then winning a couple times. 3 times, is it? Twice?
Twice barista, once brewers.
Okay, and then you progressed to the... you've come 3rd in the world previously. And then you've probably taken a step back for your mental health. I commend that. And then coach some guys. What was it like first with let's start with most recent, Mikhail. What was his journey like? Because he's someone that's persisted for so long, and he's a very, very deserving winner. And I know Mikhail from years back because he actually used to work in Melbourne, live and work in Melbourne.
Right.
So what was the journey like with him? Starting with you, David.
Well, we met him in 2019 in Boston when Cole was competing. So Cole came third, Miki came fourth.
Come close to the mic.
And so got to kind of know him after that. Kind of usually at the top 6 competitors when they're competing after the competition. You know, it's like you kind of gone through, not war, but you've gone through this long journey together. And so there's like a bond that forever kind of puts you together.
It's almost like an alumni
Yeah.
status of that year, in a sense.
Yeah.
You all got the same form of PTSD in a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so we met him. We've bought green coffee from him before. So in 2022, we bought green coffee. And then, you know, he took a break and he was looking for someone from the outside to come in and like support on his ideas. And I think he was kind of caught in a lull, or like he kind of had writer's block, and he wanted like a different view, different perspective. And so he reached out to us and we just said, yeah, man, we'd love to work with you. We went to Indonesia. We spent a week there, kind of talk through like our job as like coaches is to help like you. We're not going to tell you what to say or what to do. It's like raising your voice, raising what you want to talk about, where your connection to the coffee is. And we'll just help elevate that as much as possible.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because it's you kind of have to strike a balance between, all right, well, you don't want to do a paint by numbers routine for someone because it will lack authenticity for them, and you know, more likely will result in them not succeeding as much. So your approach is to kind of sort of help mold what they're thinking. And I mean, were you building it with them, or they had this idea that you've kind of helped them refine? How does that?
I think the big thing with competition, it's like you need to do it. It's the competitor that needs to do it, right? They're going up there. It's them versus themselves at the end of the day. As the team, as the coach, we can only help them get there, but we can't force our voice through them. We can't force our actions through them. We can't force, our coffee through them. Everything needs to be finalized by them. I'm glad you started your timer, 9.5 minutes into the podcast.
Yeah.
We're right on time.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Part of coaching
Thanks
would
for
be
noticing and letting everyone
part
know
of
that.
coaching would be the fine details, saying, "Hey, Kirk, you didn't start your timer this run, and we're going to go way over time on this podcast."
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you keep interjecting and crapping on, then yeah. So get to the point.
So as coaches, we don't want to write your script. It's not that we don't want to write your script. We don't think you'll succeed if we write your script. It's important that you have your own voice, your own actions, et cetera, and we can help harness and guide those, moves, those actions, the language. And so with Miki, he had a theme from nationals that we watched, took notes, sent him feedback. We chatted a lot in Dubai last year. Was where a lot of the conversations started, and then from there we kind of just did a weekly or whatever touch point and spat ideas back and forth until finally we got hands on, and it was like, okay, tables, this, that, this.
And for us, we work best in person. So we want to go to the Bristol competitor. They can come to Calgary, and we're working hands on. That's like, for us, the best way to work. So it was like 5 or 7 days, every day, 12 hours a day, working on the set. And it's just brainstorming, talking. We kind of have a whiteboard, and we're just putting all the ideas on the whiteboard, and then it slowly refines down. And it's a blend of what the competitor wants to talk about plus our ideas, and we got to always think about the score sheet.
Let's paint a picture for the future world barista champion that's listening to this podcast, wherever they are right now. So Mikhail, his journey was one where he I think the words he said was put himself through the fire. So, experienced failure, not necessarily failure, but as Giannis Antetokounmpo would say, steps to success. He had a few stumbles along the way. But
great analogy.
Nice pronunciation.
Thank you. I'll do my best. But, he really did have that journey. And then like we did a video breaking down the routine, Rowan and I, and kind of, he had this day spa effect where he really kind of chilled out, and you could tell, so as someone that's known him for a while and watched his routines, he really did kind of like go through that journey. Yeah. Were you ever at all hesitant? Were you kind of thinking, well, this isn't really relevant to coffee?
Because we considered there's not a lot of coffee information.
Yeah. And that's not me roasting Mikhail's routine at all, but
No, let me get a little defensive. I'm a little fired up. Okay,
right.
Do you mind?
Let him cook.
There's not a lot of coffee information. However, I would argue that was the only presentation that really had anything to do with day-to-day application into coffee. Out of really the whole competition.
Yes.
Because as a barista, as a roaster, as a producer, as whatever person you are in the chain of stakeholders, you can watch that and you can go, oh wow, I've struggled, and we've all struggled through something, whatever it might be, different intensity levels. I can watch this and go, okay, this, I want to make this better, but first I need to look here. I need to find, my inner peace, whatever that might be for you, stop and smell the flowers type of idea. And then from finding that self-improvement, I can look to improve the craft. I can look to improve the industry. So there might not have been a lot of information in there in terms of coffee, but really there was a lot more education and tangible takeaway than a lot of other presentations. And I don't want to shoot shade at other presentations. It's not fair or not what I'm here to do, but I think more takeaway.
It's more theoretical. It was very theoretical on like the idea, and we knew people would either love or hate it.
High risk.
But you know what? Like there was an element of I totally agree with what you're saying, and that's me being friends with the guy who came second by a point, Jack, and again, no one throwing shade at anyone here, but I think if I could remember one other routine where he essentially had won it within the first minute, in my opinion, because obviously that's a bit of a generalization, but I watched Emi Fukuhori compete in the World Brewers Cup in 2018 in Brazil.
Okay.
She had the judges smiling from ear to ear first minute in, and I thought, she's going to win. And, I think selling it to the judges is a big part of what you do, and obviously he delivered with the coffee too. But, he appealed to the inner human nature of them, which I think kind of, really, really...
You got to build that connection with the judges. That's really important. And in that first minute is like the most critical time.
But isn't that like a sales reference in life as well? Like you both work essentially in sales, and a lot of it is like not necessarily who sells things the cheapest, who has the best, but relationships and harnessing that and like selling it really. So like he sold it to the judges, and that's probably something.
The thing with Mickey is he believes it though. It's not like it's some made up. And, I watched the review and you guys are kind of going back and forth on like, is this too theoretical? Is it too disconnected from coffee? But it's like, it's something that's true to his heart. He has burnt out, and, mindfulness, meditation, those type of things we can all do it very easily instead of, we're talking about extreme fermentation. Yeah. And it's like 10 other presentations are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
How do we break out of that mold can we bring barista competitions not to just other baristas, that we can go beyond the coffee?
Extreme fermentation doesn't even go to other baristas. It's like hyper niche in the hyper niche, and really talks about producers. The barista's not really involved in that truly. Keep going.
No, well, I'll jump in with the question of my own. So if you're again the future world barista champions listening to this, and within the context of what we just spoken about regarding Mikhail, what are some tips that you would say that you would give to the future world barista champion listening if they're preparing for their routine today? What's like 2 or 3 tips? This is from the world barista champion coaches of the last 2 years.
Have they competed before or never before?
Oh no, just general.
General. First things first. Read the rules.
Read the rules?
Have to read the rules. Yeah.
You have to read the rules, understand the score sheet. A lot of people compete and they don't understand how you put points on the board. And that's like us playing basketball. And I don't know if there's a 2-point shot or a 3-point shot. Is there a 4-point?
The rules are changing. If you think of like F1 where the regulations change all the time, barista competitions are really similar.
And you got to understand how you score points.
Yep.
Because it's not a competition about who's making the best coffee in a coffee shop. It's a competition and a format, just like F1, that these are the rules. You have to follow the rules, and will determine who's the best barista under that rule set. Doesn't actually mean they're the best barista in the world. It means they're the best under that rule set. So focus on the rules. That's number one.
Number two.
I think go in with a message that you're proud of, that you believe in, and that can resonate with other people. Too many people focus on hyper specifics. We were just talking advanced processing, and advanced processing is part of our industry, but that's not your message, right? If you go up and compete and you're talking about, I double dipped the cherries over here and I put them over there and then I heated them here and then whatever, it's like, cool, but I don't believe you.
Yeah.
That's not your message.
It's a hard thing to sell online and to the judges, really, isn't it?
Totally.
Especially if your coffee doesn't deliver.
And then at the end of the day, what are you really putting out there that is your message? Like Miki had a very strong message about mindfulness and a big takeaway. Jack had a very strong message about progress and continuing to get up and self-improvement. And I think the theme has so much to do with it that the barista needs to really genuinely, I think that's why I've had success in the competition, is we go in with a theme that's very true to us. First year was trust. The second year was progress. And both of those were literally written based on actions that were happening in the moment leading into the competition. That's how we came up with our themes. Something
you just said, David, sparked a question in my mind where you said it's not necessarily the best barista in the world, but the best barista who understands the rule set. If they are the best baristas in the world, they won the World Barista Championship, but I get what you mean. And it kind of elicits the question to me, who do you think the best barista competitor is to never win a World Barista Championship?
I think there's
You've only got one answer.
There's a long list.
And you can't say Cole.
No problem. I wasn't going to say Cole. Probably I know what your answer is going to be, so I won't say that person. I think probably we're going way back, like Sammy Piccolo from Canada.
Okay.
He came second twice, OG in the game.
Yeah.
He probably, for Canada, we've been on the goal line multiple times. We've had second, third, fourth, fifth. We've never quite crossed over. And I haven't seen Sammy make a coffee in a while, so I'm not sure what his skill set is now. But what would you say?
That's a good answer. Maybe John Gordon.
John Gordon from New Zealand.
Gordon, yeah.
He's a brilliant technical mind as well.
Yeah, technical.
He's a free agent right now as well. He's moving back to Australia. So if someone wants to sign into a max deal.
I think maybe four-time champion, UK. Did he win in the UK?
He won in the UK and New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah, many times in the finals. I think John's an all-around great guy, great person, wants to do good for the industry, and never quite got to the goal line that I think he wanted to achieve. My answer is going to be John Gordon.
He's very capable.
Because I know who your answer is too.
Well, that would be Senor Matt Perger. I think he's the reason I got into coffee. I think he really pushed me along. When I saw his routine, I wanted to go work where he worked, which was St. Ali, and I harassed them for a job until I got it. And I'm actually very lucky now that I can call him a close friend. We hang out quite a bit, and he's a great guy. But I think what he did at the time kind of changed the game. It was one of the routines that I think leaves a legacy to this day, which I can't say for all winners, but if I my top three routines I think I've seen were that one. I think Dale Harris, when he won, I thought was really interesting. Some people might find it, a bit technical, but that was really good. Yep. Matthew Lewin, he did one that he didn't actually win the Australia.
We only got one answer, man.
Yeah, okay, sorry, but he did this one. I've spoken
about
on
our podcast. You wouldn't get more than one, okay?
Okay, but I'll be quick. But he did this really good thing
I'll
about
be quick. I just got the laundry
ultra low freezing.
Number 57 was
ultra low freezing. Let me finish, guys. Ultra low freezing of coffee, which was really interesting, but he unfortunately didn't progress past Australia. But if he had, it would have changed the game, I would have thought. But we'll see.
I got one more tip.
Okay, all right.
I got one more person.
All right, you go with the person, then him the tip.
Okay, Fabricio Ramirez Cencion from Mexico.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, okay.
Came second, maybe 2012, maybe 2011. Fact check me on this. You can fact check me on this.
He's got
served his espresso course, 4 different cups.
Okay.
4 different cups, different taste experience delivered to each judge.
Well, that kind of worries me.
It came second in the world with it.
Okay.
They had to change the rules following that year that you have to serve everything in the same cup. He did cup technology, understanding ergonomics and architecture of a cup far, far before anybody else touched into the subject and touched into the design of cups. And I think should go down as one of the GOATs.
Okay. I like that answer.
He's a great guy.
And your tip that you alluded to?
I think a lot of competitors don't practice enough.
Yes.
Okay.
So it sounds silly, but Boram, we worked with him in 2022 and 2023. And the way he gained comfort was through practice. The way we gain comfort is through practice. It's literally hundreds of hours doing that routine. With Mickey, same thing. There were so many movements in that presentation, let alone just serving the coffee, that you had to practice that so often and so much that we meet tons of competitors all around the world and we ask them, hey, how many times have you done the competition run? And it's, I've done it a dozen times. I've done it maybe 15 times.
How many? What's the number that where you're taking it seriously?
You got to
50?
go at least triple digits.
Triple digits?
Like if you're going to Worlds,
You have to practice over 100 times your routine?
If you're going to WBC, there is people that's like easy work.
Okay, right.
Lightweight, baby.
We were in Japan. We were in Japan. They're going like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day, 7 days a week, and they're just putting in those hours.
Yeah.
And something, the cup's supposed to be here, but you move it over there. They're just able to deal with that versus someone who's never practiced or hasn't practiced enough when the cup's not in the right spot or the portafilter doesn't quite go in. You can see it show up. And that's where like silly errors happen. And it's those silly errors that lead to the espresso not extracting correctly, or they get nervous.
Well, it's kind of like you expect to encounter the nerves, right?
Oh,
but if
sure.
you practice all those other things, then you can just progress through it and deal with that one issue rather than like fighting a battle on multiple fronts.
Yeah.
Is that kind of like a fair?
You've already gone through it.
Yeah.
You've gone through it in the practice room.
Yeah.
Instead of, the first time you're doing it on stage and something happens, then you're like, what do I do?
Yeah.
This has happened 4 times over here. It's no problem on stage.
Yeah, you've done the reps, you've got the experience.
Now, it's also not just about the practice. It's about the improvement. Every time you do it, have somebody watching you do it and take notes on how you're doing it. Okay, Kirk, this time you put this here and that there, and I need you to not carry the cup like this. You spider fingered that glass. Hey, man.
No.
Get your flipping
you still
holes
have liquid in there?
Yeah,
I'm
I got to drink
sorry.
this, man.
I'm so sorry.
Good thing he's moving to Panama.
It's take notes and look for a 1% improvement every time you do it. You get compounding improvements. You run your set 2 times a day for 3 weeks before the competition. You're going to be at 50% possibly. It's never going to be perfect, but every time you keep grinding away and do another run, have somebody watching, record it, use a camera, videotape it, watch it back yourself, and you can start to see where you need improvement.
And build a team. Build a team that people want to support. We're
going to sell ourselves out of a job here, man.
Yeah, okay, that's it.
Well, let's comment on the barista competition more broadly, because I kind of see it as like a sport. It's not like an athletic thing, but it is almost like a sport. It's a competition, obviously. But I kind of feel like we need to improve the PR of barista competition, because it's perceived kind of how it's perceived very wanky, very people. I think the coffee profession has this issue that we need to shake of people viewing it as like, okay, you want to be the best at what you do, but that's kind of like you're a dickhead for wanting to do it. People kind of view that negatively, where it's like, okay, who goes to their job to do the least professional or deliver something that you're capable of doing more. It's a very unfair characteristic, and I think we need to shake that, rude hipster barista mentality where, there's a lot of well-meaning coffee professionals now and we've grown beyond that. And I think we need to acknowledge that the sport, let's just call it, has as well. And I think we need to, as an industry, sort of collectively say, all right, well, we're serious about this now. And it changes people's lives when they win. It's a great thing. And I think it changes the industry when people do well as well, because people look at what the World Barista Champion does and they, if they can, implement it in their store.
Yep.
Agree, disagree?
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I think too, it opens the door, coming from a barista competitor that's had success. We've always competed together. It opens the door to opportunity. We would not be in Dubai today if we did not participate in coffee competitions. And that's just like straight up fact. If we did not participate in coffee competitions, we'd be back home. We'd be probably, in the cafe. We'd be roasting. We'd be doing something in the business, which, is also a beautiful storyline. But we would not be sitting here talking with you right now because we put in 10, 15 years. We started competing in 2010. We put in 8 years of us competing before we started coaching. And that has just opened so many doors and opportunities and given us the ability through coffee, which it blows my mind every time I say this, but through coffee, it's just coffee.
It's just coffee.
We've traveled the world. We've seen the world. We were in Tokyo last week. I was in Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand. Like, this is in the last 2 months. We've been in all these different places through coffee.
And this is something I keep shouting from the rooftop at the moment to a lot of friends that I have conversations with in private. They look at me and they think a lot of people are jealous of me, but not because I have money, which I don't have an abundance of, but because I love what I do. I get to go to work every day. I go to bed, my head hits the pillow, and I think, damn, I'm excited to go make some coffee tomorrow. It really is how I feel, and I just wish. I wish more people could feel that feeling. It doesn't need to necessarily be working in coffee, but I would advertise to you, and I'm going to look directly down the camera. You should quit your job and join the coffee industry today.
We want you to join the coffee industry today.
But we want to attract talent in the future, right? We want to attract the best of the best. And I kind of have this theory that a lot of industries are going to experience disruption in the next few years, and a lot of people probably have to transition to different types of work. That's a wonderful opportunity for our industry. We need to attract professionals. I really hope that, because, and as well, we've connected online, all of us, the three of us, and I've connected online with so many people, and I speak to them for years, and then I finally get to meet them, but it's I've known you for ages, and that's the wonderful thing about this industry, because it's not there's a little bit of tribalism sometimes, but the connection from us to Canada, us to Dubai, it's there. It's such an awesome industry, and I hope that we continue to develop the competition scene and the trickle down effect from that.
We need PR. We need to elevate it because it helps all of our careers.
Yeah,
and we see it we're creating content, and part of that is we want not just the winner to have their life change. We want the top 6 at WBC, and ideally everyone who's competing at the World Barista Championship or Brewers Cup, that's an opportunity for them to change their life.
Yeah.
And we need more people kind of championing that instead of it used to be better, or it's not applicable. And some parts aren't applicable, just like F1.
Yeah.
They're making these cars that I'm not driving.
Yeah.
You're not driving.
Yeah.
But there's parts in those cars that make it to our cars.
It's just that bizarre thing. Why would you go to work and not do the best job you can? Yeah. And people judge coffee for that. And not wine, not food, just coffee. So it's just coffee. But
we hear that at home all the time. And people are just we were in Hong Kong last year. We had a lineup. We were brewing coffee with Boram. We had a lineup for an hour. Yeah. People were waiting in line, and then they would get to taste a bit of coffee, and we talked to them about the coffee. They were super knowledgeable, and people back home were like, what do you mean people are waiting an hour? It's just coffee. It's this crazy thing that coffee can't be experienced like that, or the appreciation for it.
I really am interested by the way that people enjoy coffee here in the UAE and the Middle East in general, to be honest, because they pay a far higher price than we do in Australia and I guess Canada as well. You'd be able to comment better than I. But the culture here is excellent. Obviously, there's a lot of people with a lot of wealth in this in this region as well. But it's they don't have a problem paying for the coffee. They're here. They're at the shops till midnight, and I think they truly value the professionalism. And obviously, they haven't got that Western sort of culture where they sling mud at everything. But I just find that point of it bizarre.
I think it's interesting, speaking specifically to the UAE, majority Muslim country.
Yeah,
they don't drink alcohol.
Yes,
and so where do you go to take somebody on a date, to go out with your friends, to, coffee shops here are open till midnight, or a lot of them are open 24 hours.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Which is crazy, but then the appreciation on this astronomically increases because they understand that, this is a washed geisha from Hacienda La Esmeralda, and that means something to them, and the expression in the cup, the florals, the citrus, that we in Australia or Canada would do with wine, would do with whiskey, would do with alcoholic beverages.
But not coffee.
But we don't find that in coffee in the mass consumer market.
Or we're fighting against those beverages.
Yeah.
And at, you close your shop at what, 2 p.m.?
3.
3. That's like, that means there's a drop off of demand in the afternoon. And it's like, why can't we be the third place at night?
Well, this is the thing. I would love to open a coffee shop where mine is right now. It wouldn't work as a business precinct sort of thing, but I'd love to go into more the centre of Melbourne and open it later in the night because I think we would have tremendous success. Just Australian coffee culture doesn't offer that. There's a few places that do it, but they don't go too late. I do want to ask you some questions about podcasting because we're having way too much fun on this. I had so
much fun, and we have no idea what time we're at since that time.
Well, it's like 23 plus 9, so what's that?
Give or take 10.
We'll see. But I want to ask you about podcasting. How does it feel?
Top 3 on the charts.
Top 3 on the charts.
Yeah,
North
and
America.
how does it feel to be on a professional podcast?
It's unbelievable.
I never knew it would be
this
this nice.
This is what professionalism looks like.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I always host people on podcasts and I always wish that kind of someone would ask me on theirs. I'm like, oh, damn, I'd love to be interviewed one day. I don't know. That's just a thought I have. But what's been one of the biggest challenges that you've faced with your podcast? And, if I encourage, I really don't feel threatened by other people having a coffee podcast. I encourage you to do it. So to other people, what would your advice be? What are the biggest challenges been?
So we just released episode 40.
Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. We do a weekly.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't.
We try to do a weekly.
There we go.
And that's the challenge. He just identified the challenge before I could fully get it out there. We try to do a weekly, and it's very hard. And a lot of that is a challenge based on our schedule.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving around. We're in different time zones sometimes. We had about a month where I was 16 hours ahead of Dave.
Wow.
Yeah, that's tricky to schedule.
Yeah.
One of us is either up incredibly early or incredibly late. So that was a challenge. Finding somebody to be on the podcast. We've called you lots of times, Kirk. It goes to your agent, man. They're not wanting you to be.
They're
on
worried you're going to say something crazy.
I'll have a word with them. They should have elevated that.
So I think that's a big challenge, is keeping up with the commitment of a weekly. So we've spun off a couple other content pillars, and we're doing a Guess the Drip, which you will be a guest on. Guess the Drip. Fun little game to show just how hard coffee is, but how much fun and entertaining it is. And then what else are we doing on there? We do a newsletter also. We do quite a few different pieces that I think it's a lot for the two of us to juggle.
It's the two of us. We got one team member back home editing, and another team member, two team members editing. And I think growing it has been our struggle. We're not great on the socials, posting and things like that, letting people know that we have a podcast. And I think we struggle as, I guess, Canadians, telling people about it.
Well, what's the podcast called again?
It's just
By the Drip.
Oh, shit.
It's By the Drip. BUY, The Drip.
Please subscribe, download.
I would encourage you all to listen to it. And what you're saying is absolutely true. I'm pretty blessed in my situation right now.
You guys are crushing it.
Well, you guys know that I had my own podcast called the Sub-Zero Coffee Podcast. You can still listen to it if you want to, but it was too much work for me to do on my own. And I actually interviewed Rowan Cook as part of that. And I think a couple of days later, we were sending some texts being like, do you want to just do this together? And it kind of all worked out really well. But my routine, I work a lot. So it's 50 hours in the shop a week plus 10 to 20 hours doing this.
Oh, wow.
And we're very disciplined, every Tuesday. Sometimes opportunities come up Scott Rouse in town. And I saw him at my coffee shop and I can't help but ask, do you want to come on the podcast? So I do that shit all the time.
Yeah.
We're obliged to do only like a handful of podcasts here, but I've booked, I think, 13. Like
Wow.
I absolutely love podcasting, and but I'm pretty blessed that I've got a supportive business partner. My staff are really good, and otherwise I wouldn't be able to do it. And obviously this team's excellent as well.
Right.
But it's funny. Like one thing these guys have taught me is the hook. You'll notice that we do these reels, and Rowan is in particular is really tactical with the reels, and that's been one of the biggest things for growing the podcast. And sometimes I wonder, am I leaning too heavily into the clickbait sort of thing? But it helps grow the podcast, gets people in, and actually we have really deep and meaningful conversations in this podcast. So I mean,
no, you guys are crushing it. It's like you got 2 episodes a week, right? And you just hit 10,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah. But it's so much hard work. We've been doing this for 1 year now, and like you think of 20 hours a week, and sometimes it's more.
Yeah.
And there's been weeks where we've recorded like 4 because they're just guests in certain locations at certain times. But it's so much hard work. It doesn't just come overnight. That's like anything in life. But
no, you guys are doing.
Keep it up, man. We're motivated to grow up to one day be like you guys.
So we're hoping for a buyout. Do you want to just buy us out?
What's the valuation? I don't know.
We're gonna have to cut.
But one question.
Cut.
Pineapple. One question I want us both to ask each other, and I'll ask you first. What's one thing you think we could do to improve our podcast?
Yeah, cool.
You could have us on more often.
Oh, that's a good one. But seriously, what's one thing you could do? We could do.
No, I really like the way you guys do it. It's all in person. I think a challenge with ours is Zoom style, video conferencing.
Yeah.
So it's less intimate, less in person. I think you guys do a great job. I'm not sure I've got a piece of feedback that you do need to do.
You got to say one negative thing.
Yeah. I got a few.
Hit it.
Okay.
Where's the list? Didn't you bring the list?
I didn't bring the list. I left it in the car. Sorry, man.
No, I think you guys are crushing it, and you're doing it here. My one negative was being the guests are always Australian or mostly Australian, right? And it's very
it's very localized.
It's localized. Yeah. So, but you're here in Dubai, and you're got 13 international guests, and that's it.
That's a big thing we're working on. I think having it as a global podcast is a big focus, and having it appeal to both men and women as well, and people from different cultures is a challenge that we're very we understand and we want to improve on as well. So I thank you for
and sometimes the Australian you guys you get off track a little bit.
Okay.
And it's like, bring it back, boys. Come on. And then you go down the rabbit hole, and you got the
Rowan. It's Rowan all the time, isn't it? It's Rowan. God damn it,
I'm still upset he's not on the podcast. I wouldn't have consented to
well,
this.
he's got
Can
other
we
affairs to deal
AI
with.
him in or whatever?
right
Get a
here.
hologram going?
Insert here, Liam, please. All right. Well, the one thing I'd say for you guys is I think the content on yours is like probably a bit more, I guess, focused.
Yeah.
But get the reels. Get the reels. The reels are so good. I think it's been excellent for growing this podcast, and that's for anyone out there just having appealing content, because you see some of the things that you post can be quite weird. Like I think our most shared and viewed video is one where I was saying that cafes in Australia use coffee from a supermarket and call it specialty coffee. And like that just for whatever reason appealed. And I didn't know it would at the time, but that was just something that just got widely shared. And Rowan said something about water the other day that he does not mind just throwing a few people under the bus.
Yeah.
Sometimes like, oh dude, chill out. But he just for the sake of the podcast, he will make himself the bad guy. And I have to really commend him for that, because he's like, screw it, I'll say it. So
I think you should be that.
yeah, you got to be a bad guy
You're
sometimes.
too friendly, man.
But I think you need to.
You just told me I'm so negative all the time.
I know, but
I'll do it, man.
But you need to
expect do it in person, not just towards me.
You need to expect some negativity and some controversy as a podcaster. I think, like at some point, you're going to say something that pisses people off. So,
I think a thing just generalizing all of that is, with social media, we don't know what's going to take. We spend as people, we spend so much time trying to curate and perfect this thing till it's the absolute perfect expression that we want to put out there. And it's like, just put the content out. And that's something we're learning from watching you guys dump all your content all the time, is we should just do the same thing and just feed it out into the world, feed it out into the atmosphere, and see what sticks. And just
you never know if you're not producing. If you don't make the content and like let people know, they're not going to find it.
Yeah.
And we're discovering that like By the Drip is very small, and it's like trying to get people, like even trying to convert people off Instagram to YouTube.
Yeah.
Is like incredibly tough.
Yeah.
And as Canadians, we're not very like in your face, like you Australians are.
Yeah, well, how do you feel about, you're Canadian now, but how do you feel about becoming the 51st state of America soon in Canada?
It would make coffee cheaper.
Okay, so you're kind of positive towards
it. If we could dollarize the US dollar,
it would be amazing.
So you're pro becoming the 51st state?
I'm pro to becoming the US dollar dollarization.
Yeah.
If we can get rid of the CAD, currently 146
Okay.
to 1 USD.
Yep.
When we started buying coffee, traveling to buy coffee, 2015, Canadian dollar was ahead of the US dollar. It was stronger than the US dollar.
Okay.
That's 50% just straight off the bottom line.
Yeah.
Like
Right?
it just disappears to nothing. There's no value add anywhere.
Yeah.
Not to producers,
and that's
not
something
to
that's
us.
probably a misunderstood thing about coffee as well. The currency exchange can be a
man.
killer.
Just crushes you.
It's just the last year. It's just gone like this, and I think what's going on in the States with Trump, it's like, there's tariffs that have come up. There's we got these like wild card things. We got to be as a business ready as much as possible. And at this point, anything could happen. So
We've only got a few more minutes here, so I've got a few questions I need to ask. You guys both travel a lot. What are your top 3 favorite coffee cities in the world? Starting with Cole.
good luck.
I give 3.
Yep.
Or you
you
want
get
one
one.
from me?
We can do 1, 2, 3. 3
Okay,
from
all right,
each of us.
All right. So
Okay, I know what Dave's going to say, so I'll leave that out. I'm gonna go with Kuala Lumpur.
Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia.
You didn't see that coming, did you?
No, I didn't. All I hear is like Will Ferrell on the set of Zoolander. What's the movie? He goes, "You must kill the Prime Minister of Malaysia." Remember that?
No.
I think it was Zoolander. Okay,
We're
all
not
right,
big movie
all right,
guys.
that didn't stick. All right.
I've seen Zoolander.
Okay, all right. So Malaysia, David,
It's a merman.
Kuala Lumpur.
Well, we got to rep home. Calgary has got to be one of the best cities.
Yep.
There's probably 7 roasteries there that are world class. Calgary has produced the last.
Is it Phil and Sebastian's there as well, or
We weren't going to say brand names, but yes.
and Monogram Coffee,
Monogram,
and Rosso
you're gonna have
Coffee.
Ben. There's just a litany of them, and we produced the last 12
maybe.
Canadian Barista Champs,
Okay.
all in that city.
All right. My
Cal-
stepmom's from Calgary.
Really?
That's how I know about the Stampede.
Wow.
Yeah. Bet you didn't know that, did you?
No, we did
Light
not
flashing
know
before
that,
your
no.
eyes. All right.
Last one.
Last one.
I think Tokyo's up there.
Okay. Well, that was
Yeah.
Matt Perger's number one. He was
Yeah,
saying that
I
that's
love
now
Matt
number
Perger.
one. Yeah.
I love you, Matt.
So, and have you got is there a particular shop that stands out there for you? Like Mamea's one that I always suggest people go to.
Mamea's pretty incredible. There's a litany of very impressive shops. I think it's to do more with the
experience.
Japanese artisan, the Japanese hospitality, the Japanese, focused in on craft product.
And no one roasts them for being professional in coffee like they do us, us white
exactly.
boys.
Right. Yeah.
So, like,
No, there's such an appreciation there.
Yeah.
Like, as an example, Dave and I just did 2 pop-ups last week. We were selling this coffee in the pop-ups. This was our most expensive. We had a menu of 13 coffees. This was our most sold by volume at $55 per cup.
oh wow.
Yeah.
So people are just happy to
USD.
spend.
So $300
for a
Canadian.
200 ml brew.
Wow.
And people are so grateful and so thankful. And
What are we doing in Melbourne
What are we
and
doing,
Canada?
man?
Like,
What are you
what
doing
are we
in
doing?
Australia? What are
Like,
we
do
doing?
I was talking
do
with
we
Ben
just-
earlier,
do we need
and
to
it's
just
like
move?
if we move somewhere else, people would appreciate it so much more.
Yeah,
but
maybe-
we got to love where we live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta be
we-
positive.
okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, let's be positive.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Trying.
All right, now it's time we're at the end of the podcast, which means it's time for the greatest segment in all of Coffee Podcastery. I haven't got Rowan here to help me introduce it, but
Yeah.
Cole's here, his hair's
we're
red,
ready,
his
bro,
hair's
we're
red,
ready.
it's boiling up here.
Yeah.
It's time for an extra hot take with 2 sugars. Okay, can you guys
I thought you
help
were
me?
going to kick or something.
No,
we were
can-
going to do
can-
that with you.
All right,
I
well,
thought
let's
there
do it
was
again.
gonna be,
All right, 3, 2, 1. It's time for an extra hot take with 2 sugars.
And some milk.
Okay, all right. David finished off politely there. Who's going first? Who wants to go first? You guys are the guests.
By
So-
the Drip is the best coffee podcast on the internet today.
Wow.
Is that actually a hot take?
Is that a hot? No, that's
Well,
fact.
Okay. I like this. I
That's
like
fact,
this.
man.
All right. Well, is this a joint hot take?
No,
Did
I
you
got,
got-
you got
I
your
got
own?
my own take.
All right.
Okay, I've got a different one.
I've actually signed a multi-year deal with It's Just Coffee. I'm coming over.
Oh,
I've been traded. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
we signed
Cole.
him to We signed him to
I'm
a
max.
5-year super max.
What'd you
baby.
get traded
5-year
for?
super max.
Do I get
that
Rowan?
coffee, man.
Yeah, this was a Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis trade. Like
You
you
never
don't get
saw it
much.
coming.
You don't get much in return.
Oh, so I'm building a casino.
I don't know, but I just got Luka Doncic for
no
chump
first
change.
round picks.
Nothing,
no
man.
second round
Nothing.
picks. Okay. Well, shit, man.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Really?
that's a great hot take.
Wow.
Now what's yours?
You're just stunned. You got nothing to say. Put some respect.
And down the barrels. Talk into the camera.
Okay, I had an actual hot take.
Mm-hmm.
My hot take is that in coffee competitions, the coffee doesn't matter. Baristas win coffee competitions. The coffee doesn't matter.
Why? Why is it? What? Like, how? Explain that.
If you understand the scoring, and if you're a talented barista, all you have to do is outsell the other baristas.
Well, that's what we're talking about
The
for.
coffee you serve, the price of the coffee you serve, the rarity of the coffee you serve, the exclusivity of the coffee you serve, doesn't matter. The origin, the variety.
There's an asterisk, though. There's got to be a
Hey,
certain...
man, this is my hot take. Do you
Yeah, I
mind?
know. I'm defending the
Do you
people
mind?
here.
Baristas win barista competitions. Brewers win Brewers Cup competitions. Coffees do not win those competitions.
Okay.
So when producers put out that they've won the World Barista Championship, I believe that's where the asterisk needs to be. Because the barista that used their coffee won the championship. Right? Nike doesn't put out that, oh, we've won the NBA Finals X number of times.
But it is a good credential to have as a coffee
Of course
producer.
it is. Yeah, of course it is. But I
He
think
doesn't believe you. He
there's
crossed
too much
his arms. He crossed his
There's
arms.
too much emphasis that goes into the producer and not enough acknowledgement to the barista themselves.
Okay, I think we're about to get ushered out of here, so I'm going to quickly deliver
Is
my
that
hot
too
take.
hot of a take?
You can't even
That's
respond.
pretty hot. The camera guys are like, these guys. All right. My extra hot take with two sugars is that Benchmark Coffee in the UAE is the best cafe in the world.
Wow.
In the world.
In the world?
It is the best cafe in the world.
In the world?
I've been to a lot of cafes. Have you guys been?
Not
We
yet.
haven't
So
been
the guys
invited.
took me out the other night. It was sensational. So, I mean, the atmosphere is one thing. And I think just like, coming from where I do, like just seeing all the, all the Arabs just out there at night, just enjoying coffee until midnight, I thought was astounding.
Yeah.
The food was world class. They've got a different section for milk, espresso, and filter, and signature drinks.
Oh, wow.
They all taste unbelievable. Their menu is excellent. I was treated so well. Like the food was great. Every single coffee was like, damn, this you can't get this anywhere. Benchmark Coffee in the UAE, so Sharjah UAE, so not Dubai, is the best cafe in the world. That's my hot take too.
Wow.
Would you say it's the benchmark?
It is the
From
benchmark
here
for
onward?
that's what, but it really is the benchmark. If you are looking for inspiration, come to the United Arab Emirates. It's in a different emirate to Dubai called Sharjah, but it's a pilgrimage you must go, and you guys have to go before you leave this country.
Okay.
But that's just about all we have time for. So thank you so much for coming on to the It's by the Drip podcast, whatever we're going to call it. Good to see you again. We've met a few times now, but we'll have to catch up for a coffee or something later on. But thanks.
Let's go for a perm, man. I want to get my hair
I
done
don't have
like
a perm.
yours.
I don't have a perm.
It's
I do
fine.
not have a
It
perm.
looks great.
I've had some.
It looks great.
The camera guys. People are accusing me of artificially curling my hair. It's not. This is real.
He doesn't believe you.
Do you
Touch
see,
it,
do you
touch
see
it,
how
touch
sensitive
it.
he is? I want to do the same.
No, he's definitely done it, man.
It's definitely a perm.
All right, I'm gonna go and choke these guys out. So thanks again, everyone, for listening to the It's by the Drip podcast, and
Kurt. Thanks for having us on, man.
we'll post this together as a collaboration.
appreciate
So
it.
yeah,
Thanks
thank you
so
so
much.
much. All right, let's wrap it up.
Thanks.
It's really good. You know what happened?